updates are going to come from Metro Nashville PD on there. The tweet or X account post has just gone out. So
that's my truck right there. I'm trying to bag up and pull like this and go like that. I'm gonna bag up a little bit and then I'm gonna try to bag up right here and then go down like this.
White truck? Yeah. If you want to, I can help you back all the way through.
Well, yeah, if I can swing like that.
Backing out, get out. We're almost through about doing my truck, man. Just can't. Try it back all the way out. There you go. Set up from the best spot to go back up. That's a lot of money. I have no hand here. Oh, with you, man. Me neither. I'm sorry, sir. Okay. You should be able to navigate backing up. You should be able to navigate. I'll walk it with you.
at this staging area, Steve, to share more information about what exactly happened today, Metro's response. What are you hearing as we kind of wait for this to happen?
Well, Tracy, we haven't seen those officials on scene just yet. But what I can tell you is I've seen a lot of students who are at Antioch High School who have left the school for the day. They actually told me that when this whole thing happened, at first they were taken outside of the school and then they were told to go back inside. But I spoke with a couple students who actually decided to leave for the day. One girl telling me her sister was in the cafeteria when this shooting broke out, and she just remembers texting with her sister, worrying for her life and her safety as that whole incident was going down. As you can see, a ton of parents, as Danielle just mentioned, lined up across the street here at Ascension, waiting for any type of news, waiting for that reunification with their kids. Obviously, a lot of law enforcement on scene here as well. Traffic very much backed up along Murfreesboro Pike. If folks can avoid this area, we recommend that they do. This is just a whole active scene, a lot going on here. Around what she had told me, so expect there to be a decent crowd of people that could have been inside of that cafeteria at the time. But again, her main focus was, of course, for her sister and her safety. I'm glad to report that both of them are safe right now, and they are waiting to be reunited with their family. Tracy.
And you know, it's interesting because right now there's a big debate happening amongst lawmakers about banning cell phones in the classroom, right? And today, in the last hour or so, we've heard from various parents who say that was my direct line of communication to my child.
Is Antioch High School, which is located right there. This is technically right off I-24. It's off Hobson Pike. They're in Antioch, and they have shut down Hobson Pike indefinitely right there at the Davidson County, Wilson County line. You can see there is a staging area, and they have asked, they've got all these parents who have been backed up in traffic, so they're now just parked, getting out of their vehicles to try to find out whatever information that is. They're trying to move closer to the school. Others, in the meantime, are going to, it's the Ascension Medical Group. That's the building we've been showing you live, where Danielle Ledbetter just brought us another live report. But that's 3754 Murfreesboro Pike. Again, the shooting at Antioch High School, reunification now for parents at 3754 Murfreesboro Pike. That's the Ascension Medical Group building.
And we've been touching base with Brendan Tierney, who is live on the scene watching some of this reunification process unfold. I mean, Brendan, you saw parents parking as close as they could get to the school, frantically trying to figure out word about their students. Let's talk more about some of that activity. This doesn't happen with just one busload. This is many trips that we're talking about.
Yeah, Amanda and Holly, we've now seen 2 Metro school buses. The second one's now coming back from the school out to this reunification center out here. I'll give you a closer look at all the parents that just lined up along the sidewalk out here as that second bus is now starting to pull into the reunification center. It had a Metro Public School transportation department vehicle in front of it with its lights and sirens on, helping escort it out down here to the area. There's plenty of police cars out here as they've now completely set up the road for cars to be leaving the school area for the most part. As we have a police car now driving past us, you can see the school bus is making its way down in, and the last one we saw, it kind of did a little loop around, as this one looks like it's doing as well. And we'll then start letting people off of it. As we're able to kind of see a little bit on the bus from where I'm standing, there does appear to be students on it. It doesn't appear to be completely full yet at this point, as we saw around a half dozen or so buses head down towards the school from where we are standing a little while ago. And that's what Metro Public Schools will use to evacuate the school, to get everyone out of the school area and then bring them down to this area. It's one of those situations where they unfortunately have experience with it. The Metro Public School buses were used after the Covenant School for this exact same evacuation process, bringing people out here to the Family Reunification Center. We've been talking with parents, including the woman that I interviewed live on air a little while ago, who was just so frantic, wanting to get their hands on their students and make sure that they're okay, even if they have talked with them on the phone, wanting to be able to kind of confirm that they're okay, see them, and get them safely home.
Right, Brendan, I want to bring this up really quickly. Notice at the bottom of your screen, if you're just tuning in, and this is for parents, loved ones of parents, friends of parents, if you can get this information to them, Antioch families can call. That is the reunification number right there on your screen, 615-401-1712. This is for reunification information on connecting with your child, trying to reconnect with your child. Again, 615-401-1712. They say the line obviously is very busy, but they say even so, stay on even if you do not hear a tone. So again, 615-401-1712. We're going to try to leave that number up for you, so you can continue to pass that number along and get it to the parents who need this, so they can call this number for reunification.
All right, Daniel Ledbetter is live at this reunification center where we're seeing a lot of parents funneling in, trying to get word about their students, their children. You have some new information to share with us as we monitor that reunification process.
Yeah, Amanda, so we've been able to talk to a few parents who, of course, were frantically coming up to this area. This, again, is the reunification center. And, of course, everyone just concerned about their children. The man I spoke to, he said that he was able to confirm that his child is doing okay. She was, of course, shaken up. And I asked him, you know, are you shocked that this happened? He said, I'm not shocked, but it is a little unnerving that it has happened this close to home. So we are going to continue to talk to parents, more parents as well. Another parent told us they're a bit frustrated that they couldn't get to their child quick enough, or it felt like, you know, they couldn't get to their child quick enough. Now, I want to bring to your attention, you are looking at right off of Murfreesboro Pike, where there was tons of traffic backed up for people to try to get into the school off of Hobson Pike. And parents, they're pulling over on the side of the road, running out to this area, again, trying to get in touch with their kids. So we also have seen some students kind of come out of this area as well. So we will continue to kind of keep an eye on that and get more information on when students are going to be making their way to this area, guys.
Danielle Ledbetter, live for us. We do have video of the shooting, which for obvious reasons we are not going to show. However, you can hear the actual gunfire. So we do want to give you a warning in case, because this may be something you do not want to listen to. A fair warning in advance. We are going to be sharing not the actual visuals itself, but we will be hearing the gunfire.
All right, so this, of course, happening in a cafeteria. Our understanding is that there were other students around that witnessed that, and we're going to try and kill that audio there, but just a glimpse into what students may have heard or potentially seen today at Antioch High School when 2 students were shot. Again, we're still trying to figure out the conditions of those students. We've been monitoring Vanderbilt, where we've watched a lot of police and ambulance activity there. Our Courtney Allen has been monitoring the situation, and she heard from Vanderbilt authorities that, you know, if we do get patients from the Antioch High School shooting, they're going to be going to the adult emergency room. They're not going to be going to Vanderbilt Children's. They're coming to the adult emergency room. So the moment that they got that information, they went straight there. This is the live shot you're looking at. She says that second ambulance in the bay is the one that pulled in just as they did, and that 2 Metro police officers have essentially been standing guard outside of that ambulance for the duration or majority of the time that they've been there monitoring the scene. Hard to tell if they're still there as we kind of zoom in during this live look.
All right. The very latest again, we are wanting everyone to know about the actual reunification area, 3754. So this is a very active scene, 3754 Murfreesboro Pike. This is part of a new protocol where the school buses now, since the Covenant School shooting, this new protocol is that school buses rush in, making sure everyone's safe. Then they come in, they pick up the students, quickly evacuating them to a point of reunification. And so that's where you're seeing right here. That's this live shot right there. I believe that's Danielle Ledbetter's live look right there. But this is the reunification location. This is that building, Ascension Medical Group, 3754, right there on Murfreesboro Pike, where we know at least 2 buses have left the school, according to Brendan. We saw about 5 or so that were arriving. At least 2 of these buses have left the school, headed for this location. This is where parents have been informed to reunify with their child.
And we're hearing from some of these parents, and it is just, it's heartbreaking to hear what they've already been through today. One woman said, you know, my son called me. He's frantic. He's scared. She said, I just told him, run, hide, stay low. I'm on my way. She's one of the parents that is at that reunification site waiting for word of her child. And we know this is not a quick and easy process, getting the students from the school via bus to this reunification site. They've got to clear the kids from the scene and then get them over there. It's just been devastating to hear what parents are going through yet again. I mean, we're all as a community just so raw, I think, from the Covenant School situation. And to be here yet again, it's tough.
I mean, hearts are breaking. Hearts are breaking. We still do not know the full extent of any of the injuries, but again, we know 3 students have been shot. One shooter, who was also a student, shot 2 others. We were told that 2 students have been rushed to Vanderbilt. We are still waiting to confirm that they are indeed at Vanderbilt, but it does appear, the way Vanderbilt staff has talked with Courtney Allen, it does appear that they could have already arrived because of the way the ambulance quickly arrived and backed in, and they had Courtney Allen and her photographer quickly move across the street, and they are telling them to stay over there. We are checking in with Courtney actually live right now at Vanderbilt with more information. Courtney, what can you tell us?
Hi, Holly. We can confirm now, according to Vanderbilt Medical Center, that 2 people are stable and 1 person is deceased this afternoon. Now, they did not tell me which of the 3 that were shot is deceased. We know that 1 student, the shooter, suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. However, we do not know, and then 2 other students were shot, but of these 3 people, this update that we got, we don't know who is who at this point. They said that they will not confirm just yet, but they will confirm that, again, 1 person is stable, 1 person is deceased, specifically at the Vanderbilt Hospital behind me, and then another person is stable over at the Children's Hospital. So in all, this afternoon, 2 people are in stable condition and 1 person is dead. And that's the latest update that we have from Vanderbilt.
All right, so Courtney, just to confirm, we have 1 person who is stable at the adult Vanderbilt ER, 1 person who is stable at Vanderbilt Children's, and then we have a 3rd person who is confirmed dead.
Yes, and I'm reading this. I've been texting the spokesperson for Vanderbilt Medical Center, the adult center.
Okay, obviously we just lost Courtney, but the very latest information we are hearing from her, there are 2 students who are in stable condition. It appeared that one of them is right now at adult emergency room there at Vanderbilt. Let's listen for just a moment into this live interview.
She said she can talk to me. She been texting me, but still I'm still in office. I'm scared. I'm scared. I need to see my baby.
And how did it make you feel when you found out, like, okay, she's okay?
I feel happy. I feel happy. I feel happy. But still I need to see her. Make sure she's safe. Yeah, because all mother is a mother. Everybody need a child. Even anyone need a child. You know what I'm saying? So I need my baby. I need to see my child.
And where is she now?
She's inside in the school campus right now. They say locked down. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe somebody used his phone. You know what I'm saying? So I need to say, I don't believe it. Maybe somebody used it, the phone. So if I saw my daughter, and I feel happy with it. Yeah.
And did she give you any idea of when she's being told, when she'll be able to meet you out here?
Not yet. Until the bus bring them down here, I will see. Yeah.
And is there anything else that you want to share or want people to know about what's happening here?
You know, really, this is dangerous. The old school coming in America is dangerous for the children. We don't know what we do. The president need to work hard. The children leave from home, they go to school, and a little bit they call you a child die. That is not safe. What are we going to do for the children? We don't know. The government need to work hard with it. This is coming bad.
And let me ask you this. Were you shocked to hear that this happened here at this school?
These things happened before, but I don't know. That time I think my child was in this school that time, but I don't know. This is my first time is going to find my child was inside in this accident. So I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy. I'm not safe either.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Danielle, before you let her go, would you mind asking her if she is aware?
Oh, excuse me, ma'am.
Ask her if she's aware of what sort of security measures they have within the school, metal detectors, anything of that nature. Does she know?
Are you aware of any security measures or metal detectors or anything that's inside of the school?
I didn't know anything because I don't work at the school. You know, I'm a parent. I sent my child to get education. I didn't know anything about inside. What's happened, I don't know.
No security, like no weapon detection, anything like that? Do you know of anything like that?
No. I don't know anything about it.
Student resource officers?
I didn't know anything. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Okay, we heard you just talking, Danielle, about school resource officers. So we do know that throughout Metro, there should be 2 SROs at all of the Metro high schools. And we do want to reiterate the breaking news that Courtney Allen just brought us, and that is that we do know conditions now. 2 students are in stable condition. We know 1 student is deceased. We do not know which of those is the shooter. We know that of the 2 students in stable condition, 1, it sounded as if Courtney was telling us 1 is there at the adult emergency room area there at Vanderbilt. 1 is at children's there at Vanderbilt. Children's in stable condition. So again, 2 students hurt. They are in stable condition, 1 student deceased.
And we should preface that by saying stable is kind of misleading, and it's hard to get an accurate idea of what that really means. They could be in various conditions, but stable within those particular conditions. So it really doesn't give us much information other than, you know, it's kind of status quo for now in whatever condition that could potentially be. So there is still a lot for us to learn from Vanderbilt about exactly what's going on with these students who have been injured. Courtney Allen is continuing to monitor this. Have they indicated to you when we might have an update about that, Courtney?
Not yet. They have not given us any timeline on updates to this point. The most recent update that I got at 12:51, so less than 10 minutes ago, I did not know that I was going to receive at that time. So they have not been giving us updates on, hey, we're going to tell you something at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. They're just giving us information as they get it. And to reiterate what you guys just said, the latest update that I received via text from a Vanderbilt spokesperson is that 2 people are in stable condition and 1 person has died. Now, these are 3 students from Antioch High School. 2 students were shot, and then the shooter suffered from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So we don't know in this scenario between the people who are stable and the one person that is deceased who is who. We don't know the condition of the shooter. And to Amanda, your point, we're told that they're in stable condition, but we don't know exactly how everyone is doing at that point. We don't have those further details, but we are working to get them. I can tell you, though, that 2 of the people, 1 stable and 1 deceased, is at Vanderbilt Adult Emergency Hospital here, Vanderbilt University Hospital, and 1 is stable at the Children's Hospital just a minute or 2 away from here. And I just want to step away from the camera to give you a sense of the scene at this point. There is an ambulance right now in the ambulance bay. There are multiple Metro Nashville police officers on scene here. They have not been letting anybody slow down, stop, park, anything to that effect. The only people that are getting into that hospital are people that, you know, have appointments, have business here today, but they are not letting any traffic slow down. We, in fact, showed up around 12:06 p.m. as one of the ambulances were backing in, and we were told immediately by and you can see right now, they're just as I said, they're having traffic move quickly through here, telling people not to stop. He just said to that car, let's go, let's go, let's go. But back to what I was saying, whenever we arrived and that ambulance first backed in at 12:06 that we saw, Metro Nashville police officers told us immediately to back away from that specific ambulance and get to the other side of the street. And we asked if that was the one carrying the students. We were told that they did not know, but we do know, at least at this point, that these students have been transported here to the adult and the children's hospital. And at this point, 2 are in stable condition. 1 is deceased. Holly, Amanda.
All right. Thank you, Courtney. With the latest, we'll be checking back in with you. We are now going to check in. You see on the left side of your screen our Steve Mailing, who is there at the staging area. And it appears that you have a parent. Steve, tell us who you're talking to.
That's correct. I'm here with Teresa Rito. She has a child inside of Antioch High School, and I was just talking to her a bit about this whole situation. Can you kind of let me know when you first heard about what had happened and how you learned of it?
So I worked from home, and I had picked up my phone and was just scrolling Facebook. And I had a friend that has a child here, and she commented they were shooting at Antioch High School, and she can't get in contact with her child. And I immediately clicked off Facebook and dialed FaceTime and called my son, and he answered the phone. He was in a classroom. I said, "Are you okay? Do you know what's going on?" I said, "I heard there was a shooting." He said, "That's what they're saying." I said, "Did you hear anything?" He said, "I didn't hear anything." But I'm on FaceTime, so I can see students behind him and talking, and I heard a girl say, "Oh, they have his arm wrapped up. He's bleeding. He's bleeding." And so I just talked to my son, asked him, "Are you scared? Just stay in the classroom. Don't get up." And then I called his dad to let him know what was going on. And then my phone just started blowing up. All my friends, all my family calling to make sure, because they know I have a child here, to just make sure he's okay. And so I let them know he's fine. And I never got a call from Antioch or any text message from Antioch High School. And so I was pretty sure it was on lockdown, so I didn't get up immediately. But then we got a text message, a mass text message went out saying that you could reunify with your child at this location. So I just got in my car and drove up here. I called my son back again just to make sure. They had moved all the students to the gym. And he's saying, like, I just talked to him a few minutes ago, he's saying he has to wait for the order, whatever order they're doing, get in to bring them down here on the buses.
One thing I wanted to ask you, of course, we're trying to get this answer from parents who we've spoken with. Do you know if there were any weapons detection systems inside of Antioch High School?
Not to my knowledge, there's not. I actually brought my son missed the bus this morning, so I had to bring him to school this morning. I have to, when you bring them late, you have to buzz in and sign them in. So I was able to buzz and get them signed in and told them, "I love you, have a good day." And I walked out the building and went on about my days. But no, to my knowledge, there's no metal detectors, no wands, anything. And I was just on the phone with one of my friends. She has a child at a middle school, and she just said that they put metal detectors and wands at her child's middle school. She's like, "I don't understand why they didn't start with the high schools." Exactly. Like, after this, every Metro high school, at least starting with the high schools, because that's where it's more problematic at, they need metal detectors.
I wanted to go back to what you said, dropping off your son, saying "I love you." Is that something that kind of went back into your mind? Yeah,
I do it every day. So I have 3 children. My other 2 are in private school, and I made a mistake in pulling him out of private school and putting him in public school. But this is his senior year. I won't be doing this again, and the other 2 will stay in private school. But I say it every day to all 3 of my kids. I love you. Have a good day.
Teresa.
I'm sad for whoever is trying to contact their child who said, I love you, have a good day, and their child is not answering the phone. It's unbelievable.
Teresa, I appreciate your time. I'm glad your son is okay, and hopefully you guys can be reunited as well soon.
Thank you.
So as she mentioned here, not sure of any weapons detection systems inside the school. This is obviously going to be a topic of discussion for the likely coming days, guys, but for now, I'll send it back to you.
I mean, we've already heard multiple parents in live interviews just within the last hour echoing those same concerns, saying that they feel that their school needs more security, whether that be metal detectors or other ways to make sure that students are safe. If you're just joining us, we have an update to this shooting at Antioch High School. We've learned 1 person is dead and 2 other people are hurt. They're being treated at Vanderbilt Medical University Center and Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. And we're unclear about their conditions, but we are hearing from authorities that the 2 students who are hospitalized are stable at this hour. We're still working to learn a little bit more about their injuries, but we heard from that woman who spoke to her son on FaceTime and saw a student in the classroom saying, oh my gosh, somebody is bleeding from the arm over here. And that's kind of our first indication of what sort of injuries we could be dealing with.
Right, and the fact that there are witnesses who were able to see at least part of what was going on. Again, the shooting happened at some point this morning inside the cafeteria. And I tell you, just listening to that mom, I mean, our prayers are with all the parents right now. I've been with this community for a long time. We all have, many of us, and just praying for all the parents right now, and especially for those who have not yet heard from their child, because we know this touches all of us at this point, and we're still waiting to find out exactly how these other 2 students are doing, and we do not know which of the 3 students is actually deceased. Our Jeremy Finley obviously has been following this, and you have another angle on this. Tell us what you are learning. He's joining us in the studio now this afternoon.
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is technology in the school. So here's what we do know. We know that as of last year, Metro Schools had implemented a system where we're talking about a new system where ultimately this is telling parents when a gun is found in a school. They are using AI technology, and that AI technology is supposed to alert the school when a gun is seen on cameras. But I want to start off by getting back to the very beginning of this about the history of the district and with this school. So this is unfortunately a school that is familiar with gun violence. Let's start with a timeline here, okay? On October 16th, 2024, an Antioch High School student was arrested, accused of bringing a gun to school. Police say they found a loaded handgun in the boy's pants when he arrived at school that day. Resource officers were tipped off that the boy brought a gun to school the day before and were waiting to search him when he arrived at school the morning. The gun was not reported as stolen, and the student told police it did not belong to him. He was charged in juvenile court with possession of carrying a gun on school property. Again, that was October of 2021. The very next month, November 19th, 2024, someone made a false threat against Antioch High School. Someone threatened to carry out a school shooting on that day, again, November of 2024. All right, right now we are understanding the presser is about to begin. Generally, Don Aaron is the gentleman speaking. Here's Metro Police Don Aaron.
Of what's taken place, there will be a subsequent news conference at the same spot very soon with Chief John Drake and others. At 11:11 this morning, the Emergency Communications Center received a active shooter call, shots being fired call from Antioch High School. From the investigation to this point, we know that at 11:09 a.m., a person who has been identified as a 17-year-old armed with a pistol fired multiple shots in the cafeteria of the school. The individual wounded 2 other students, one of them fatally, before shooting and killing himself. There is no danger at the school. The police department's SWAT team has cleared the building. We have identified the shooter, again, as I said, a 17-year-old, and the investigation is advancing now. One of the persons that the 17-year-old shot, a female, was transported to Vanderbilt University Medical Center and is deceased. A second individual wounded, also a female, has what is being described as a graze wound to the arm, and she is in stable condition at Vanderbilt. This investigation is being led now by the police department's homicide unit, and there is quite a bit of work to be done. That's all I have at this moment. I have no names to give you of the individuals yet. As we have already issued on social media, we have a family assistance center at Ascension across the street from us. There are a lot of school buses at Antioch, and those school buses are going to be transporting the students to this lot across from us here at Ascension. The initial plan was that even car riders would be transported by school bus just up the street to this family assistance center. We want to make sure that the entire campus is stabilized, including the parking lots, before we would release any vehicles of students who drove to school today. All right, I can take just a couple of questions before we go back to the scene, and again, there'll be more from this same spot in a brief time. There were 2 SROs in the building. They were not in the immediate vicinity of the cafeteria when this happened. By the time the SROs got down there, the shooting had stopped and the shooter had shot himself. I will let the school system answer that definitively. I did not see any metal detectors in the building, but that's a school system issue to address. There is a male student who has some type of a facial injury. It's not a gunshot injury, and I'm not sure if he fell or what was the cause of that, but there is another male student being treated at Vanderbilt who does not have a gunshot wound. He has some type of a facial injury, the cause of which I'm unsure about.
We spoke to the family of one of the victims. They only speak Spanish. Are there any resources available to these families that are being offered to them now? And can you confirm the ethnicity of the other victim who was also in the hospital?
Okay, I didn't hear the last part of your question.
Can you confirm the ethnicity of the victims at all?
No, I can just confirm gender at this point. The 2 gunshot victims who were taken to Vanderbilt are female, one of whom is deceased, and the shooter is male, and he's African American. That has taken place or is taking place.
Do you know any ages?
We know that the shooter is 17. I don't have ages for you on the 2 gunshot victims at this point. No, all of those questions will be a topic for the homicide unit to delve into.
Do we have a motive yet?
No. All right, that's what we have for now. We'll be back here shortly with more. Thank you.
So as this news conference wraps up, we are getting new information, and what we've learned is that 2 students are now dead. A female student has died. A male student who police say was the shooter and turned the gun on himself has also died. Then we have a third student who was grazed and is being treated, and then a fourth male student who was not shot but suffered some sort of injury, perhaps to the face.
All right, so in total, we're talking about 4 different people who were hurt in some capacity. Again, one of the 4 did not involve shots fired, did not involve the gunfire. Some of the questions that were asked, talking about SROs, school resource officers, so basically security there at the school. Don Aaron saying 2 SROs were in the building at the time of the shooting, but they were not in the vicinity of the cafeteria, which is where the shooting played out. And by the time the SROs arrived there, the shooter had shot himself. So again, the very latest information we're learning is that 4 people are involved. We know 2 of the students are dead. 1 is a gunman, the male, and we also have a female victim who is also deceased, and another student who is also a shooting victim who right now is in stable condition. We're told had some sort of grazed wound to her arm and is expected to be okay.
And you know, the other thing that we've been hearing from a lot of parents is security. They want more security, and we're trying to figure out, well, what kind of security is already there? And you heard in that news conference the question come up to Don Aaron, Metro Nashville Police Department. Are there weapons detection systems in this particular school? He said he was going to let Metro schools answer that question. Brendan has been monitoring the reunification efforts that are going underway. So many parents, Brendan, desperate to see their children.
Amanda and Holly, I actually was the reporter who asked Don Aaron that question about safety and security at the school at that press conference just a few moments ago. He said that when he was at the school, he did not see any metal detectors in there, but he wasn't sure about other weapons detection systems. A parent that I interviewed live on air earlier, just after this incident happened, said she really wants to see more security stepped up to make sure people are safe out here at the school. We have also learned that there were 2 school resource officers at Antioch High School. That is Metro Police policy right now. There are 2 school resource officers at all Metro high schools this year. Those officers were in the building and did respond, but by time they got to the area where the shooting happened in the cafeteria, the 17-year-old, we are now learning a 17-year-old African-American student, male, is what Don Aaron told us just a few moments ago, had already shot himself, taken his own life, and that then ended the situation involving a pistol in the cafeteria out here. Metro Police will be giving us another update a little bit from now. We're also waiting on Mayor Freddie O'Connell, who we have been told is on his way out here to the Antioch High School area, as that reunification effort is definitely still ongoing out here. There's a lot of parents still lined up across the street from us, just really a growing number of parents that are lined up out here waiting for their students to come out here. We had originally been told that they might allow some people to go and pick up their students at the high school, but Don Aaron told us that Metro Police decided they're going to keep the entire school campus as set aside as a crime scene, and then they will eventually come down here and do all the reunification after evacuating those students off of school buses that we have slowly been seeing shuttling students back and forth across the area. And we're hearing different screams. I just heard a scream across the street. I'm not sure exactly what that was. It looks like it was a parent and a student hugging, embracing after they finally got reunited out here. So definitely a lot of emotions, a lot going on as parents are still frantically trying to get in touch with their students after the shooting at Antioch High School. But now we do know some basic information that 1 student, the gunman in this case, is dead, along with a female student is dead. 2 other students are injured in this shooting and are stable currently over at Vandy.
And we heard from one mother who said, you know what, I'm not going to believe my child is okay until I see her, right? Someone else could have had the phone and texted me I'm okay. Parents need to see their children
giving others hugs, looking for their loved ones, looking for their parents, and just precious hugs and reunifications. We're just so glad to see that. But that's the situation right now. We know at least 5 buses that headed in, 2 buses at least have come out. We still have many parents, Amanda, as you were saying, who still are waiting and do not know. And you can only imagine how anxious they are because they want to see their child, they want to hear their voice, but also give them a big hug and just know that they are okay.
And probably the hardest part of this story may potentially be happening at Vanderbilt, at the adult emergency room and Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. Courtney Allen is live monitoring the situation. And this is where we know that the victims were taken for treatment, Courtney.
That's right, Amanda, and this situation is evolving, and we're learning more information, more updates, more numbers at this hour, both from Don Aaron with Metro Nashville Police Department and from Vanderbilt. I took some notes, and I'm just going to read them directly from my phone to recap the latest that we know at this hour. We know that now 4 students were involved. We were originally told 3. That has now been updated to 4. 3 of them were taken here to Vanderbilt Hospital, which tracks with what Vanderbilt has telling us this morning, is that 3 Antioch students were taken here. One of the students that was transported to Vanderbilt is dead. That is a female student. 2 more, a second female was shot, but she is stable. And then a 3rd student, a male student, was injured. He was not shot, but suffered a facial injury. And he was also treated here. So at this hour from Don Aaron, those are the 3 students that were treated here at Vanderbilt. Is the one female who has unfortunately died from this situation. You can't imagine being the family showing up here this afternoon facing that reality. And then also the 2 students who were also involved in this. The male student with the facial injury was treated here. The female student, the second female student that was, or I'm sorry, the second female that was shot but is in stable condition. Now, it did not say anything about the shooter himself being transported here. Don Aaron simply said that he killed himself. Back to you.
All right, so again, the latest numbers, we know 4 students involved, 3 of them shot in some way, 1 female student dead, a second female student who was grazed by a bullet. We know a 3rd male student was not shot, but suffered some sort of facial injury and was also treated there at Vanderbilt. And then the shooter, which we have learned is a 17-year-old black male who apparently turned the gun on himself and died.
Let's talk more about the security situation at the school. We know that every Metro School high school has officers, SROs at campus. That was the case today, according to Metro Nashville Police. They say 2 SROs were in the building, but were not close to the cafeteria where the shooting was unfolding right around 11:09 this morning. As soon as those officers made their way to the cafeteria, the shooting had stopped. Let's go to a live interview now. Steve Mailing is at the Reunification Center.
I talked to him, I called him, I tried to call him as soon as I find out, but he didn't answer it, but he did text me. He said he was fine, that he was in the classroom, and that they were on lockdown. Yes.
And I'm busy.
I'm waiting for him. He just told me that he's in the bus, but he's still asleep, so he's not here. Yeah, I'm waiting for him to get here. I think everybody find out first through Facebook and all that.
Kind of hard to hear that, but you know, basically Steve talking with her about, did she have communication with her student? Are they okay? And we've been hearing a lot from parents that we've been talking to. You know, thankfully I was able to get in touch with my student with their cell phone.
Exactly. That communication coming from the student via cell. We're going to listen right now. We have another live interview for you.
You know, remind her about our therapy exercises of just breathing through it, and so it's hard. It's so sad to see these kids go through this, and you know, somebody's child is not coming home today, and I just cannot imagine that. My God.
And for your family, you've already kind of been through, your children have been through this, and Did you ever expect it to happen at like a safe space like this?
Never. I never expected it to happen where it happened the first time, and I definitely didn't expect it to happen here. And you know, like now my son is saying, "Mom, I don't even want to graduate. I don't want to go through this no more." I just now got them to really start going back out in the public, and then this happens. Like, I just don't know how we're gonna get past this.
How is your son?
He's not doing well mentally right now at all. He just keeps asking, "Where's my sister? Where's my sister?" I'm like, "Taj, she's okay. We just have to wait. We just have to wait for her to get off the bus." But she's constantly texting me. She's letting me know every update. This is just unreal.
For those other parents,
hearing from more parents here just in disbelief. Others still waiting to hear from their child. All right, we're going to go live now to Brendan Tierley, who is talking to a student. Brendan, tell us who you're talking to and what he witnessed. What can he tell us?
Hey, Amanda and Holly. Yeah, we're getting set up out here right now to talk with Ahmad. You're actually the son of the woman that we had interviewed earlier who was so frantically trying to just make sure she was able to find her son and make sure she was okay. You were actually at the school, right kind of near the cafeteria when that shooting happened. Can you talk me through what kind of all you heard and saw?
Yeah, we was in the cafeteria just getting lunch like every other day, and the shooter started. We kept hearing like gunfire in the front of the cafeteria. Then people looked around screaming, and we ran behind the garbage cans, and then we saw people getting shot on the ground, bleeding and stuff. And I saw me and my friends and everybody in the back. We all ran on the side door, crouching down, and I tried to help these people who was falling on the ground, getting pushed. And so I was running while doing that, and then we ran out to school in the back of the school near the football field.
When you hear those gunshots go off and then you see your fellow classmates injured in a shooting like this, what's going through your mind?
I wish I could save them. I feel like a lot of pain and grief and depression, knowing that I can't do anything to help them. Just seeing them just get shot in front of my face like that.
Your mom had told us that she was able to get in touch with you, that you called her almost as soon as it happened. Talk me through that conversation and what that was like, letting your mom know that you were okay.
So when I ran out to school, I was calling her, telling her everything that happened, step by step. And so I was telling her, like, "Hey, Mom, this is a school shooting. Can you get here as fast as you can?" And she said, "What happened?" And I was explaining it to her that there's a school shooter active right now shooting people. I don't know if he's still alive, if he's dead right now, but he's still at the school. And I told her I walked away as far as I can, away from the school. And so I called my dad, and I called my female friend, and she was still in the school. And I was trying to tell her, like, find a way for her to get out safe. And I was checking on everybody to see if they were okay.
Metro Police are telling us that the shooter took their own life and one of your other classmates that were shot in this is killed. When you kind of hear that news, how heartbreaking is that for you?
It's really heartbreaking because it's like just seeing someone you know just die like in front of your face like that at any time is kind of really upsetting. And just seeing that you can't really save the person or help them, but you just seeing someone just take their life like that in front of your face, it's kind of heartbreaking.
Obviously, there's school resource officers at all the Metro High Schools. Can you talk me through the other different safety measures that you get to go through every day here at the school to try to prevent something like this from happening?
So today, they said it was really cold. They should have canceled school. I don't know why. But we used to have metal detectors, and they stopped it just like a week later. I don't know why. They do searches, but that's not enough constantly because there's so many people who sneak weed or guns, and they don't do it. They just expel them. They don't press charges or anything about that. That's all I've heard. But I feel like they should be more strict.
Would you ever think something like this would happen at your school?
Yeah. The school has a lot of problems, and I feel like if something like this was supposed to happen, I just didn't know when. Ever since on the first day I got to the school, I feel like it was going to become a problem. As many fights it was, guns, people have been caught with guns in their backpacks, and I feel like it was going to happen one day.
Sense. Thank you so much for joining us and talking us through this. I'm so sorry you had to witness that and go through all this today, but I'm so glad you're kind of being able to be reunited with your mom out here after such a tragic situation. We'll let you get home. We'll let you go get safe. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Could I ask you a question real fast, actually, if we could? What was it like when you were able to finally get back in touch with your son and give him a hug out here after he got off that bus?
Oh, the bus situation and trying to that's kind of unorganized because everybody's waiting for their child, and you have to have these lists, and that could have moved a little quicker, especially when you just wanted to take your child home and make sure they're safe in your arms. That's another struggle. So, but you know, this has never happened to him. Like he said, there's always fights and guns in the backpack, but nothing past that. And I hope, and it's sad that it had to come to this, that now, you know, they'll get metal detectors or more police officers in the schools. You know, you see them on Murfreesboro Road, but, you know, let's get them in the schools. Yeah.
What's that feeling now that knowing he's officially finally safe and you're able to take him home?
Oh, yes. Just want to lock him up. Like I said, it's my only one, and want to lock him up. And I don't know, like, going from now, what is the school's plan? What is Metro's plan? Especially for this school. Because, like I said, they have had issues constantly calling, the school is on lockdown, this and this and that. Okay, what's the action plan now? Because it's serious. You know, students have lost their life. It could have been worse than what it was. But we need to do something about that.
Thank you so much for your time. We're so glad that your family is safe in such a tragic day out here in Antioch. And Amanda and Holly, it's definitely one of those situations where everyone that we've been talking with is in a similar situation, that they never thought something like this would happen out here, even if there have been violent instances at the school in the past. It's really interesting what he told me about them having metal detectors in the past and they took them down. That's definitely a question we'll end up asking Metro Schools about when they're finally able to give us more answers about the security measures at the school out here. As again, 2 students are dead. One of them was the gunman at this Antioch High School incident.
Just a striking comment from that young man you just interviewed, Brendan, saying, you know, I wish I could have saved them. I have a lot of grief and depression. He says because he wasn't able to save the people that he considered friends. That's a heavy, heavy weight to carry.
It certainly is. Hearing people scream and run, trying to hide. All right, we appreciate it. Brendan, we'll be checking back in with you. Right now, let's check in with Steve Mailing, who is talking to another parent there. Steve.
Yeah, Holly, Amanda, I'm here with Joanna. Her son is a freshman at Antioch High School. She is here waiting with us, as many as all these parents are, waiting to be reunited with their kids as they bring in these school buses from the high school. Joanna, can you kind of walk me through what we were talking about before, how you found out what had happened today?
Well, I was at the office, and actually it was my nephew that called me and let me know that if I know that, you know, about the shooting in Antioch, and I say no. So I'm like, you know what, let me call my son, Giancarlos. I hung up, I tried to call my son and he didn't answer, but he then texted me and said that he was okay and that the school was on lockdown.
I know that you had mentioned to me that you had 2 other sons who had gone to Antioch High School before this. We had thoughts about Antioch High School itself. What do you know about the school itself, sending your son there? Did you have any reservations sending your son there?
I did to send my son here. He's a student athlete, and I did have my reservation because what I hear after my sons were out of school. But now this happened, so I'm gonna have to think about it for next year.
You had mentioned that your son is a student athlete as well at the school, which makes things a little bit tougher. And you were mentioning to me before that you always see these things on news, online. You never expect it to happen here, right? I can't imagine you expected this to happen.
Of course not. As a parent, you're afraid of something like this to happen. But when you are living it, it's another thing. Yeah, I was very afraid.
Do you have any thoughts to take your son out of Antioch High School after an event like this? Do you want to see more from the school system itself to implement maybe new safety measures into the school?
They do need it. They need to implement safety regulations at school. Maybe, you know, I know they have like police over here, 2 officers maybe, but they need to do more. They need to do more. And yes, I will have to think about it, about my son coming to Antioch next year. I mean, I want to support Antioch and the community, but when something like this happens, you have to think on your son first.
Well, Joanna, we're happy that your son is okay. Hopefully you guys are going to be reunited soon. We appreciate your time, of course. Holly, Amanda, this is the main topic that we've been hearing from parents, the concern for safety inside the school walls there at Antioch High School. It's definitely going to be something that is going to be discussed over the next following weeks, months, however long it takes. But right now, parents are just waiting to be finally reunited with their kids and take their kids home. For now, I'll send it back to you guys.
From your vantage point, Steve, have you seen anyone reunite with their children? Have you been able to witness that?
Yeah, I've witnessed a couple dozen people actually reunite with their children out here. They have a speaker to where they're announcing the students' names, then they have the parents come up and verify that that is their child. It's that new protocol that we had mentioned before in our coverage. It's heartwarming, but at the same time, it's a bittersweet thing to witness because you know the situation that they're coming from. At the same time, you're happy to see that they're okay and that they're once again able to hug each other to say, I love you again, to be together with themselves. Once again, it's something kind of incredible to witness in and of itself. I know that there are plenty of buses coming in actually right now. That moment's about to be shared with a lot more parents and students, and hopefully they're going to be okay after this situation. It's obviously a very traumatic situation to be in as a student and as a parent. But to have your parent waiting for you when you get off the bus is probably the first thing that they're just waiting to see here, guys.
You know, to reunite. But again, at this point, we do know 2 students will not be coming home. One of those, a shooter, and the other, a victim, a female victim. And talking back through what some of these students, what Steve was just talking about, so many of these students actually witnessing something to this level. The student we were just hearing from heard the gunfire, people screaming and running. He ran and hid behind garbage cans, ran out of the back of the school, saying just the grief and the pain that he was feeling because he didn't feel like he could save anyone else. But interesting because he also called his mother, and that's the tale over and over again when we've been talking about a lot of different leaders, school leaders and lawmakers have questioned, should we have cell phones in schools? And in each of these instances, we've been hearing from students who are contacting their parents, whether it's FaceTime or whether it's texting or actually making that phone call.
I've had multiple conversations with Mary Joyce and Melissa Alexander, and they're 2 mothers of the Covenant School. Their students survived the shooting, but witnessed very graphic pieces of it. And one thing that they speak a lot about is the shared trauma of a community. And that's a tough thing to navigate, right? And we're hearing from so many people who are starting to understand, unfortunately, what that shared trauma means and what it really means to be a survivor in these situations.
All right, we are now going to go live to our Danielle Ledbetter. Now, she is at our reunification arena there. This is Ascension Medical Group right there on Murfreesboro Pike, who is talking to, it appears, another parent. Danielle.
Yeah, Holly, so this is Jonathan Beasley. You were just telling me your daughter was inside. Can you tell us how you found out about what was happening here today?
Yeah, she texted me saying that there was a shooting. They were on lockdown, but she was safe. And, you know, wanted to leave right then and there, but just kind of had to figure out, you know, they weren't going to release her and we weren't going to be able to get to school anyway. Until we got a notification from the school that they were on lockdown and this was going to be the meeting center, so just hauled it over here after that.
And how did you feel when she first reached out to you?
I was scared. I was scared, you know, my heart sank into my stomach, you know, and thought of, you know, the victims and the shooter himself. You know, it's an ugly situation altogether.
But you're telling us that she is on one of these buses, right?
She's, I've already texted her. She's on the 3rd bus right there.
Okay, and then what do you think it will feel like when you finally get a chance to see your daughter?
Oh, it'll be a weight off my shoulders for sure. Because, you know, as a parent, you send them off to school thinking, you know, hey, you're going to be safe. You're going to be here at the end of school. And, you know, odds are, given today, she may have been one of those people.
And I asked you this a little bit earlier, but just to re-ask you, were you shocked to hear about this?
No, I wasn't. It's sad to say that, but I wasn't. You know, it's Antioch gets a bad rap, but I don't think they do a whole lot to help police the area or the schools themselves.
And are you aware of any security measures inside of the school?
Not really. No, it seems like it's kind of a free-for-all. You can just walk in, walk out. Doesn't seem like much is going on there.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. We do appreciate it. So, yeah, guys, lots of parents out here just waiting to be reunified with their children, guys.
I mean, the resounding theme that we're hearing from not just parents, but students as well now. Security, security, security. No weapons detection system there. And it sounds like this is going to be a conversation that continues in the days and weeks and months to come.
Right. Now, we're still working to learn if there's any other sort of weapons alert system, but at this point it does not appear so, and several witnesses, including students, saying they had a metal detector at one point but no longer do. All right, we are getting ready to check in with another reporter at this time.
Yeah, Lydia Fielder has been out in the scene as well, watching some of these interactions, parents waiting for their students, finally seeing their students. Describe what this is like for these families, Lydia.
Well, Holly, Amanda, I am with one of those parents here now. I'm here with Leonard, who has 2 students here at the high school, a son and a daughter. And Leonard, you were telling me how you initially found out about this shooting.
Yes, ma'am. It was my mother-in-law from Fayetteville, Tennessee, down in Lincoln County, gave me a call and asked that I hear what was going on. By that time, my wife was calling me also to tell me what was happening.
And you were saying that was pretty striking to you because you didn't hear it from the school first, but you heard it from a family member outside of this area.
Right. I was concerned at first because I didn't hear it from the school directly because of the automated line, but do understand that how fast things happen. I understand that maybe it was just timing factor for them to get to it. But the fact that the police got there and everything was safe for the most part, I'm grateful for that.
And as we're standing here talking, you're saying your wife is actually sitting in a car somewhere near here? Is she stuck in traffic while you're here at the reunification site?
No, we drove over together, but she wanted to jump out and come over, and I told her it's too cold for her to stand out here in the weather that I would do it.
And I do want to mention your students, your kids are okay. So glad to hear that. What were they telling you or your wife once they did finally get a hold of you?
They just said that they was locked down in the class and that they were safe. They didn't give much more detail. More detail came from some of my former kids, my kids that were graduated from Antioch, getting messages directly to them. So.
And you have 4 students that have already come through this school, 2 here currently. Have you experienced anything like this with your other students before?
Not to this degree. I mean, a couple of years ago they had a bomb threat, but that was it. Nothing that manifested from that.
And then just tell me your feelings as a father, as a parent, when you do get this call from whoever it was at first. What goes through your mind?
To be angry, to be honest, anger, and then grateful. Grateful that things probably could have been worse, but my first instinct was to pray to make sure everyone was safe, even if someone was shot, that the Lord's will be done.
And I would imagine that's what's happening with a lot of parents out here as we wrap up, sharing your feelings, Leonard, of first anger, obviously being scared, and then praying that everyone's okay and saying we're thankful that our children, we are going to have them home as we are out here now waiting for these buses to arrive. So we appreciate your time. Until then, we're gonna send it back to you, Holly and Amanda.
All right, so the repeated message we're continuing to hear is the concern for safety. And were there for sure any security measures in place? Our Jeremy Finley is joining us now in studio. We know you've been looking into this and you do have some new information.
We do, guys. So I know every parent that is watching this right now is asking, how in the world did this gun get into this high school, especially what this city has encountered with school shootings? So I want to let you know, first of all, if there's any breaking details that come out, we're going to go live out there so you can continue to hear from parents parents and students. But what I want you to know is what we have found out about security measures in Metro schools, specifically this school. So last year, the whole district implemented a new security measure that's called Omni Alert. So Omni Alert is AI technology that alerts the district through their existing system when a gun is detected within a school. So this was sold to Metro school districts as a real way that the districts can know using their current technology, again, using AI and cameras, if a gun is actually seen within a school. But the key in all of this is that the gun itself has to be detected by the cameras. We do not know in this case if the gun was at all revealed until the moment when the shootings occurred. But we do know that the system is in place in every Metro, at least high school. We know that. And we also know that this cost about $1 million for Metro schools to implement. But let's think of the reality of what this is. So this technology is in place, but again, it only works if the cameras detect that gun. We're hearing a lot of parents and a lot of students saying, look, we don't have metal detectors. So what I did is I printed off all of Metro's own data on enhancing school safety for Metro schools. There is no mention on any of this about metal detectors. What they do talk about having, and we've seen this, those of us who have been in the city for a while and have reported on this, they have security vestibules that you have to kind of pass through. A lot of times they will have wands, but what we don't know is that those wands are used every day. So of course they're going to have the same standard procedures that we have in most schools, that the classrooms are locked when something like this happens. And of course there are security cameras. We know that. They talk about this here. They also talk about that you have to be buzzed in. You heard a mother talk about that when she dropped off her son earlier today, that she had to be buzzed in to go in. But when all of the kids are coming into school at the beginning of the day, we don't know if every one of them is patted down. We don't know if they are given wands, but obviously somehow this gun got into the school. So that is going to be the question. You heard a young man say a moment ago that they used to have metal detectors. We're working to verify if that in fact is true, and if they did, why it was taken out. That's something we're working on. But one thing that I have been looking into is the history of violence with the school. And here's what we know in just the last couple years. Last October, a young man was arrested at the school. He was found to be carrying a gun, but it happened as he carried the gun into school. So according to the information from police, that this happened on October 16th of 2024. The young man was arrested. We don't know his age, but they were tipped off that this boy had brought a gun to school. Metro Police were there and able to anticipate that happening. Were able to get the gun. At the time, the student told police that the gun did not belong to him. But this just happened last October, that a gun was actually brought to the school. The very next month, on November 19th of 2024, someone made a false threat against this high school. They said and anticipated that they were going to carry out a school shooting on that day. That was November 19th, 2024. Police say that someone told them about a social media post that made this threat. They began to investigate. They ultimately looked into it, turned out to be a hoax, but officers were sent to that school as a precaution. I just want to tell you about 3 years ago, I did an investigative piece into the schools with the most violence, and we specifically looked at fights, which is obviously something that schools deal with all the time. What we found, and this data comes from 2021 to 2022, that Antioch High School had the 4th highest number of fights in the district. So that data is a couple years old, but it does indicate that for years, at least between the 2021 and 2022 school year, that it already had a history of violence. So that is kind of your update on where we are with history and technology at this school. We've got a lot more questions to be asking, and of course we'll fill you in as soon as we get them. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Jeremy, to see how that Omni Alert system is going to be judged based on what happened today and how it worked or didn't work. So more to come on that.
All right, now we're going to check in with our Jordan. Our Jordan James is joining us live, and he looks to be in front of the reunification center there. Good afternoon to you, Jordan. What can you tell us there?
Well, good evening, Holly. I can tell you that hundreds of parents are standing out here waiting to reunite with their children following this shooting. You can certainly feel the concern in the air. Several parents have been standing out here for over an hour, and I actually want to bring in one of the parents who has been standing out here with me. Ma'am, just kind of talk to me about what was it like when you found a shooting had took place here at Antioch High School.
Oh, I was shocked, nervous, scared, wasn't sure what was going on. I got the first call from my daughter before I got anything from Metro Schools. And yeah, it was just scary. So when I read it on the news and seen what happened, not only was I thinking about my daughter, I was thinking about everybody else's children. It's just hard to get the news. And then if it's, you know, the parent of the child, of the incident, it just can be devastating. I know it is. Condolences go out. More metal detectors or more security officers. 2 is not enough for a school that big, for 2,000 children or more.
And I mean, speaking of those security measures, how do you feel sending your child back to school moving forward in light of this incident?
Nervous. I want to do homeschooling, and then you have, you know, all the other attributes that you need for that. You don't send your child to school, then you get truancy. It's just chaotic, and that they just need more security for the children.
And then something that stood out to me, you told me you were able to talk with your daughter by phone, but she possibly heard the gunshots?
Yes. She said she heard it. She was scared. I guess they had a substitute teacher at the time, and she was just, I guess, unaware of the process. And she was just real nervous, and all the children were in there just scared and didn't know what to do. She was letting people use her phone to call their parents as well, to inform them on what's going on. I was just nervous. My job let me go, paid time off, and I'm just here to try to get my child now safely home and, you know, talk about everything that's going on and what has been posted already on the internet.
And lastly, I mean, what will that moment be like when you finally get the chance to reunite with your daughter after hours of talking with her?
I'm just gonna give her a hug. And then I'm gonna talk to her about, you know, how to carry yourself and be aware of your surroundings. Even though you're at school and you feel protected, you still need to be focused and have, you know, awareness of what's going on. Just talk to her about, you know, how to conduct herself, and we just all have to be careful out here in the world today.
Absolutely. Well, Holly and Amanda, that's the sentiment out here. A lot of parents standing around waiting to reunite with their children. I'm gonna send it back to you in studio.
We're seeing some of that reunification happen on the live camera that we were just showing you, and hopefully we can go back to that. I mean, this is remarkable to see. We've got someone with a megaphone kind of in the center of the crowd, likely saying the names of the students to reunite them with their respective parents. We've got students that are hanging out of the bus windows and communicating with their loved ones that way while they wait to get off. So some of the very important moments of the day happening for parents right here.
So many of the students, you see some of them getting off, actually then trying to find their parents. They're still waiting. And then obviously many of these parents waiting for their child, who you can see some of them are still on the bus. Several of these buses have made their way back and unloaded. These have not just yet. Again, a lot of these parents having to just park wherever they could. We know the streets have all been backed up, so they've been walking to this reunification center, just trying to find their child, get in touch with their child. And the big question, too, it just keeps coming back to what Jeremy brought up, is how did the gun get into the school? Of course, this is going to be an ongoing discussion that we are going to be talking about for some time, including school leaders, parents, lawmakers, trying to figure out how this could happen yet again. The very latest information, you know, we heard from students saying there's no metal detectors in the schools, but we are all hearing again about this Omni alert, this artificial intelligence technology that...
Oh, look at that.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, we've got
mom and daughter
ones hugging each other as they're finally reunited. What a moment that is, too, by the way. I mean, these parents have been waiting for hours now to see their children, to hold their children, to tell their children again, I love you. That's happening right now.
And take them home. So we're going to try to continue to bring you more reunions as we describe the situation and what has happened as more of these students do get off the bus. Again, with this Omni alert, trying to figure out, so the cameras are supposed to detect any gun, and that was in place at this high school. It's in place at all of the Metro high schools, yet somehow this 17-year-old male shooter got a hold of a gun and had it inside the school cafeteria. If you are just joining us, still a very active scene. We know the situation there at the school itself is contained. 2 people are dead, 2 students are dead. One, the shooter who turned the gun on himself, and 1 female victim.
It's just remarkable to see all of this happening there. And some of the people in the crowd are people that we've interviewed who are anxiously waiting to reunite with their children, and some of them are still waiting. We've seen video from inside of the school where students were just sitting in various rooms waiting for this moment as well. So there's been a lot of waiting, and finally this is the moment that parents and students are both looking forward to. Steve Mailing has been talking with a lot of folks who are in that very position, from students and parents as well. Steve.
Yeah, that's right. I was speaking, as we just had about 15 minutes ago, speaking with Joanna. Her son, who's a freshman, was in there waiting inside that gym. He was actually waiting on a bus in the parking lot to be taken here. As you can see now, a lot of parents have gathered to the front of this bus as the students are hanging out the windows, speaking to their families. It's kind of those first smiles you see between a kid and their parent as they're back here in this parking lot and they're fully waiting to be reunited. It's kind of a bit of organized chaos right now, though. Obviously, these parents are hoping to sign their kids out as quickly as possible and just get them in their arms as soon as they can. But they have a process for doing this. They're trying to call out the students' names, have the parents come verify that they're their parent, and then sign them out, of course. But on the bright side, no matter a tragic situation that we're covering here today, this is definitely the brighter side of the situation. To see these families once again reuniting, holding each other, being able to share this moment of relief, that weight off their shoulders as they see their kids once again after this whole incident unfolded, guys.
Are you able to hear, Steve, any of these conversations? Because we see a lot of students who have been on these buses for what seems like or feels like a while now, just communicating through the window with their loved ones.
I mean, really, at this point, the students are just waving and saying hi, saying I love you to their parents as they're out here waiting on the hill to be reunited with them. As you can see, a hug right there at the front of the school bus. That's I mean, there are no words for that moment to describe this moment properly. It's just such a beautiful thing to finally see these families reuniting with each other after such a scary incident at the school. Obviously, these parents never imagined, the parents we spoke with never imagined something like this would happen at their schools, but now they're finally able to see each other again. I know a lot of conversations are going to be had, obviously, in the households that we spoke to, at least, of whether or not they will be sending their kids back. But for right now, they're just able to once again, like I said, guys, enjoy this moment, say I love you again, and be with their parents.
And it's a mass reunification, too, because we're talking about 2,000 students attending that high school. Right now, we're going to go live to our Jordan James, who is talking to a student. Tell us who you're talking with this afternoon.
Well, good evening, Holly. Some of those students just got off the bus, and right now I'm joined with a freshman here at Antioch, Serenity. So, Serenity, just kind of take me back to this morning and what this entire process has been like for you.
Well, it was scary because our teacher wasn't here and we had a sub, so she didn't know what to do. She didn't lock the classroom door. It was teachers. They was trying to help, but they really couldn't. And the students, it was like being loud, not taking it serious. So I was scared. And then I heard the shots. I didn't know what to do, so I just called my mom. I really don't know what to really say because I didn't think I'll ever be in this situation before, but I've always been scared to be in a school building and they start shooting or something like that. I've always been scared of that. So having it happen, it was just I couldn't really believe it, but it was I don't know. I really don't know what to say.
And to find out that 2 of your peers died in this shooting, has that resonated with you just yet?
Yeah, because you really can't trust no one for real. And it's the fact that he had the gun in the school building. It just makes me feel I don't know, I can't really trust anyone. So it's I'm just scared. I really don't know.
And, speaking of being scared, I mean, how do you feel returning to this Antioch at some point in time?
I'm going to feel a little uneasy, probably a little nervous, but I'm going to try to push through the day. But I don't know. I really don't know.
And finally, talk about being able to embrace your mother after hours of being on the phone with her and to stand with her here right now. How does this feel to you?
It feels good because the students that got shot or died, they're not able to do that, and their parents are also grieving right now. So it's like the fact I'm able to be with my mom right now makes me feel happy and safe because not other people can, do that right now. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Serenity. And Holly and Amanda, that's the sentiment out here. A lot of students and parents are feeling grateful to embrace their loved ones after the tragedy that occurred here at Antioch High School. I'll send it back to you in studio.
So many questions, too, when you hear her saying that the substitute wasn't really sure what to do in those moments. So a lot of questions that we've got to get answered in the coming days here.
Yeah, and that's the second time we've heard that about a substitute teacher not knowing exactly what to do. All right, now we're going to break away from that and go to Danielle Ledbetter. She's joining us live now with another interview. Tell us who you're talking to, Danielle.
Yeah, Holly, so I'm with Charlene Oliver. Can you tell us, how did you learn about this news and what made you come up here?
Well, I was at the Capitol in my office and started getting a lot of text messages from colleagues and that there was a shooting in Antioch High School. And I said, that's my district, so I wanted to come check on folks here.
And what have you learned about the situation?
There was a news article, basically, that news alert that came on my phone, and again, just started checking text messages. I got off the Zoom call that I was on, and I had a meeting with the mayor at noon, but I said, this is more important. I need to come over here.
And since you've been kind of on the scene and talking to people, have you learned any new information or anything like that?
Since being here, I've obviously learned that 2 of the students are deceased now, and my heart and prayers go out to the parents and families and their loved ones. This is not something that none of us want to be here. And I'm here at the reunification site trying to be helpful, trying to just offer moral support. A lot of people are anxious, as am I, and learning that they have some students held. Some of the families and parents haven't heard from their child, and some of the students don't have phones because they left them at home. So a lot of folks are just really like, I need to get to my child. So.
And my last question for you, I see that emotion coming up out of you right now. Talk to us about what is that?
I'm a mother. I have a child in high school, 9th grade. So you never want to get this call. I'm just empathetic to, I'm sick of this happening. I'm sick of this happening to Nashville. I'm sick of this happening to our babies. The trauma that they're going to endure, whether you witness this incident or not, sticks with you. Now the memory of being in the cafeteria now will come with you whenever you're in a school. So my heart aches for these babies that they're having to grow up in situations that are avoidable and preventable. My colleagues can do something about this. We can do something about preventing and limiting school shootings. Obviously, you don't know how people are going to act. And also, when it comes to mental health, we don't know what folks are going through. It's a tough times right now.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the moment out to speak with us. We really do appreciate it. And so that's kind of the same general sentiment that we are seeing out here from a lot of parents. So I'm going to go ahead and send it to you guys back in the studio. Marius, Lauren.
Danielle Ledbetter, thank you so much. Her words were very powerful. She said, you never want to get this call. I'm sick of this happening to Nashville. I'm sick of this happening to our babies.
Yeah, how many tears do we have to see cried in the city, right, over this issue? Again, it's 2 o'clock right now. Want to reset some of our breaking news coverage for you. At 11:11 today, that is when police were called to Antioch High School because just 2 minutes earlier, a deadly shooting had taken place. A female student was shot directly. A male shooter, 17 years old, armed with a pistol, took the life of another student and then took the life of himself. We also know, as a combination between Metro Nashville Police and Vanderbilt University Hospital, that 2 people are injured. So here we are now, the second deadly shooting in this city in just a matter of years.
667 days since the Covenant shooting, and a community is going through this once again. We want to get out to our Dryden Quigley, who is standing by right now. And Dryden, what are you seeing, and what can you tell us?
Yeah, we're live here with Mom Aisha, who has just been reunified with her daughter. Talk to me a little bit about how are you feeling?
Feeling very emotional, relieved that I have my baby, but like I said, still sad for the parents who didn't get to reunify this way and who unfortunately don't get to reunify.
And you had a son and a daughter both inside the school. Talk to me a little bit about, how your day was, this phone call that you say you got from your son.
My son called me and he was screaming and running, and I could hear him running. I could hear kids screaming in the background. And he said, "Mama, they're shooting, come get me." And I didn't ask any questions. I just jumped up. I lived 3 minutes from the school, so I just jumped up and I came. And he told me where he was standing, so I got him in the car and tried to go into school, but of course it was on lockdown, so that was at like 11:10, and I'm just now getting my baby girl. She's a junior, and she was in class, and she didn't even know what was going on when I called her. She thought that I was just joking, and I'm like, no, I'm serious, there's a shooting. And then she called me back and said, "Mama, we're on lockdown, they're not letting us out." And so I'm just now able to get her, and she's not doing too well.
And this isn't the first time that your children, unfortunately, have been near some violence like this.
No, it's not. We were working at the restaurant, Roasted, when the shooting happened on Easter Sunday, and they witnessed that entire thing too. So I've just now been able to kind of get them back acclimated to getting out of the house and going in public, and then this happens.
We are so sorry, and I'm so glad you're able to hold them in your arms again. Tell me a little bit, what was it like to be able to hug both of them, getting off the bus?
It was emotional. It was very emotional. My daughter, I just need to check on her because she's not doing good. She didn't even want to talk.
And I know that's the same for a lot of families and students around here. There are still tons of parents out here waiting to be reunited with their children. Thank you so much, Aisha.
Dryden Quigley reporting live for us right now. It's the constant theme you hear from parents. About an hour ago, one of our reporters interviewed a man who said, and I quote, "It's a free-for-all inside Antioch High School," were the parents' words. And you think about the healing that has to happen from that.
And you talk about healing. Though her daughter witnessed another shooting just months ago. And now she's going through that second incident again.
Let's go to our Steve Mailing right now. Steve, you actually have the perspective of students who were inside the school at the time.
Lauren Marius, that's correct. I'm actually here with Orlin. Orlin was actually in science class when this whole thing happened. Can you walk me through exactly what you were just telling me about?
So I was in science class, and then we see multiple people just like leaving school, running out of school, and we didn't know what was going on. So people started testing on their phone, and out of nowhere on the intercom they're talking about some lockdown code blue. And my teacher, Coach Major, she just springs into action, starts barricading the doors, and then she tells us to go sit in the corner and like just be quiet as possible. And so we were just there for 30 minutes, and after the 30 minutes we started hearing banging outside, but luckily it was just the police. They came in guns, they broke down the door basically, making sure nobody was in there, and they said it was like good. That's it.
What's going through your mind when you see a bunch of cops coming through your classroom door? I can't imagine this is something that you expect to happen when you're in science class.
Nah, I'm not lie. When they came in, they had the lights on, and I was terrified. I thought I was gonna die. So I thought it was a shooter, because they just broke down the door, no talking, nothing. They broke it down. They're just guns out, pointing at everybody with the light. So I thought it was the last time I was gonna be alive.
Now, obviously, you're here with your mother. Can you walk me through that feeling? We saw you hanging out the window of the bus before, finally able to kind of see her. Just talk me through that feeling with your mom, just spending that moment to be with her again.
So coming here, I was happy because we're finally out. I was with one of my friends, and finally seeing my mom was a relief, being able to see my mom, because I didn't know if it was going to be the last time this morning, so I'm glad.
Is there anything that you guys said to each other when you first got off the bus?
I love you. Or I just hugged her. I hugged her, and I just hugged her. I don't know what else. I just hugged her. That's it. I just hugged my mom.
Orlin, are you afraid to have to go back into school the next day you were in school? Is that something that you're now going to have to think about,
Am I scared to go back? In a way, I'm a little scared, because, I was having fun. I was in art and, playing the game with my friends on the phone. And then, I don't know, after fifth block, it all happened. So, yes, I am scared to go back to school, just in case. You never know what happens.
Is there anything that you'd like to see happen safety-wise to the school? Do you think that more needs to be done?
Yes, most definitely. This should not be happening at a local school where people, go to get their education. This is not right. there should be more security out there, or metal detectors or something to make sure people don't have guns or anything like that, like knives or anything. This is not right.
Orlin, we're glad that you're safe. I'm glad that you're reunified with your mother. You know, we appreciate your time, of course. And Marius, Lauren, I'll send things back to you.
Yeah, Steve, thanks so much.
Yeah, we have got some insight from a lot of people that have been inside the school. We just heard of something that happened that went right. He told us that the lockdown code blue was calling. Teachers they jumped into action right there, started barricading doors and told everyone to be quiet so they could, you know, go through that process.
You know, I think it brings up for all of us, anyone who hasn't ever been in a school shooting before, when you hear that it happened in the cafeteria, your mind might immediately go to the, 1,500 or so other students who would have been in class at the time, and we automatically know they're safe. But for the people who were in that building at the time, they had no idea if they were going to be safe. And you heard from that student, for 30 minutes, they were barricaded in that room. For 30 minutes, they had to sit there wondering if these were the last minutes of their lives.
And every noise they hear, the police coming to save them, they don't know that that's actually happened. You know, we talked to a few students who said they're scared to come back to school. What does school look like tomorrow, Friday, Monday? What does it look like?
We do have an update from Metro Schools. They've just posted on X, and I want to read some of this directly to you. I'm reading it at the same time that you're hearing it here. They're saying any students who usually take the bus to school will be delivered home on their regular routes if they haven't already been picked up, and that's going to begin at 2:15, which, as we speak, is 6 minutes from right now. And then students who drove to school will be brought back to Antioch High School so that they can get their car once police have cleared this parking lot. We do know that SWAT had already been through the school. They did clear it by about 1 o'clock this afternoon. When you think about it, it took almost 2 hours to get to that point. But you know, in 6 minutes from now, we're going to have another update that will be crucial for the next bit of information we're going to learn.
Yeah, we talked to a mom who said she got a call from her daughter at 11:10, and she had just been reunited with her daughter 3 hours later. So this is a slow process, but it's a process that must be done to keep everything in order.
Absolutely. There's been so many questions about security at the school. It's something that our WSMV4 Investigates team has looked into and studied. Antioch is considered one of the, I should say, fourth on the list of the most security incidents at that school. We know there's been a bomb threat there before. We know that students have been arrested at multiple different occasions for bringing guns into school. We also know there are no metal detectors in that school. One of the students we heard from earlier today was talking specifically about there being metal detectors initially, but then after a week or so, they were gone. We know that there are detection systems, but not anything necessarily that would be able to detect a concealed weapon at this school specifically.
And that is of concern to many parents out there as they talk about what to do next. You know, a lot of the parents we talked to said, we need more. We need more security. We do know that Antioch High School had 2 SRO officers on duty when this shooting occurred. By the time they reached that incident, it was already over.
Right.
So you had the people in place, the school resource officers in place, but they were helpless because it was over by the time they got there.
Which points to it being targeted, right? I mean, we've seen in other situations where shootings are not as targeted, where they're more indiscriminate. It does seem, by the nature of this one, that it is more targeted, simply because you have a 17-year-old holding a pistol inside the cafeteria, shooting one female specifically. We don't know the names of either of these people. We don't know the age of the female victim. And we also don't know the names or ages of the 2 other people who were also, one receiving a graze wound on their arm, and then the other who was also injured in this incident. But we do know after that female was shot, the shooter turned the gun on himself. We know that for sure.
Yeah, we also know that for 2 families, they won't have kids coming home tonight. And for dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of other parents, they have questions to answer to the kids that have witnessed this, and that will be their innocence was taken from them. They're going to be charred from this.
So there are more than 2,000 kids that go to this school. It is majority minority, something upwards of 82% minority, 41 different languages spoken at this school. So you think about even the dissemination of information that has to take place in a situation like this, and it can't all and only go out in English. You have 41 different languages spoken at this school, and there has to be information shared with each of them. We also are hearing that video of this incident is already circulating on social media. It's already on TikTok. It's already going amongst the students of the school. We are working to verify what we can, and we can assure you here on WSMV4 that we will always operate with the highest integrity to only show you what we know can be confirmed. And we are watching the clock as well. It's 2:13 right now to the second. And so when we hit 2:15, that's the point that we're supposed to hear from the mayor, Freddie O'Connell, here in Nashville. We're also supposed to hear from Metro Nashville Public Schools. That will be the moment that we learn new information. We also are hearing from other people as well.
Yeah, we have some sound from parents right now who are on premises and they're experiencing this. Let's listen in.
To be angry, to be honest, anger, and then grateful. Grateful that, you know, things probably could have been worse, but, you know, my first instinct was to pray to make sure everyone was safe, even if someone was shot, that the Lord's will be done.
Such a difficult reality. And I will say, nothing like tragedy brings you closer to getting on your knees than this. I mean, this is one of those times where people just stop.
He talked about emotions, and I'm sure a lot of parents are running through the gamut of emotions, helplessness, hopefulness, gratefulness, anger. They're going through the whole spectrum of emotion
Well, it's the thing that you can't protect your children from, right? When things begin to happen around you, and it's an existential crisis, there's no question. Our Jordan James has been down there talking with parents as well. Jordan, what do you have to share right now?
Well, Lauren, I can tell you that at this point in time, parents are still waiting to reunite with their children. In fact, I'm joined with one right now. Ma'am, just talk to me about what this process has been like, standing out here in the cold, waiting to embrace your loved ones.
I mean, basically, I know some people were here longer than me, but I got here like after 12, and it's now after 2. And every bus you go to, they're telling you, okay, line up on the side of the bus and wait for your kids. But you have a list of kids that are on the bus. Call off the list. Let us know who's coming off which bus so that we could know, okay, is this a bus we need to go to? And then they're getting aggressive and telling you, oh, I need you to move away from the bus. How? So what do you want me to do? You want me to go towards the bus? You want me to stay away from the bus? What do you want me to do? Because it's a tough process. You could just call off the list that you have because you made the kids write their name before they enter the bus. So just call off the list, and then we'd know how to move forward with getting our kids.
Certainly a lot of frustration out here. Ma'am, talk to me a little bit about how you found out about this shooting and how your nephew and your son are doing right now.
Both of them are really good. My nephew, he was actually in the cafeteria when it happened. So he actually called me while it was going on, and he was like, it's a school shooting, it's a school shooting. So I told him, I said, basically, you know, drop to the ground, just roll under something, get to something, you know. And then he called me back about 5 minutes after that. See, this is him calling me now. He called me back 5 minutes after that, and he said, hey, you know, they neutralized the shooter. The shooter, you know, either he shoot himself but something happened. So he's like, he don't know what's going to happen now, but he can keep me updated. But that's basically it.
And to hear that, you know, 2 people died, 2 people injured, just reflect on that reality.
I mean, the reality of it is, like I told my other loved ones, like, you know, I'm fortunate to be going to pick up my kids because plenty of people can't go to pick up their kids, or they have to go to hospitals to pick up their kids, you know what I mean? So this is a bit frustrating to pick them up from buses, but at the same time, it's better than having to pick them up from a hospital or go to a morgue and have to identify them, you know? So it's not as bad, but it's still a little frustrating because we're all scared. We don't know if it's, like, for the persons who can't reach their kids, they don't know if it's their kid that is injured. You know what I'm saying? So try to be more lenient with people and try to understand our frustration at the same time, too.
And lastly, we've been talking with parents out here. They said they would like to see more security measures put in place. I understand they have 2 SROs. Some people are saying they need to have metal detectors in place. What's your stance on this position in terms of security measures at Antioch High School?
I mean, with that, I feel like it's crazy because why is a child even in the school with a gun? Like, don't you have, like, measures in place that, okay, when you're coming into the school, you guys walk through a metal detector? Like, that should be something that's mandatory here in Antioch, knowing that we have so many school shootings. So it's frustrating. It really is frustrating, and it makes you want to say, why send your kid to school and not going to school to learn that basically some of them are going to get killed? It's the reality of it, you know? To say, I'm so sorry to say it like that, but that's just what it is.
All right, well, ma'am, Marius, Lauren, that's the symptom out here. A lot of parents are anxiously waiting to reunite with their loved ones, but also want to see changes happen moving forward in light of this shooting. I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
Jordan, thank you. And I hear somebody on the megaphone right now. Please, by all means, listen to what they're saying. And if there's something we need to know, don't hesitate to jump back in to give us the information. Thank you.
Yeah, you talk about the parents, and then, okay, we have our Steve Mailing right now. He is standing by. Steve, what do you have, and what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, Marius, Lauren, I just wanted to come back on here and share some words from the mother and son we just spoke to a little while ago. She only spoke Spanish, so one of our photojournalists was able to talk to her and tell me a bit about what she was sharing in reaction to this incident. She said that she had a 24-year-old son who's gone to Antioch High School and graduated. This was never a problem 10 years ago for her. This was not even a thought on her mind 10 years ago for her. Now it's reality. She had to watch as her son was bussed in here, hanging out this window, just waiting to reunite with his mother, which was obviously a very warming moment for them, but it's bittersweet, as I mentioned before, just to have this moment to embrace with each other. She says she's wondering how these people got the gun. She's wondering how the gun got into the school. All questions we've been hearing from parents this entire time as we've been out on this scene for hours now. Parents wondering what security measures are going to change, what security measures are going to go into place at this school now that this has happened once again here in Nashville. As you can see, there's still many parents on this hill waiting to reunite with their students. We have a couple buses that are finally offloading some of them. Lauren had mentioned the megaphone a little while before. That's them announcing, letting them know, hey, we're going to try to make this as orderly as possible.
Are coming here. The students are coming here. I want to make that clear. There was a text that was sent out that was incorrect. All the students are coming here and will be brought here.
We are learning new information. So there was a text that was sent out, maybe that students were going to be taken home. We're now learning right here that they are going to be taken here. The students are going to be brought to the reunification center. So that's something new just happening seconds ago that we're learning now for parents at home as well. So obviously all of these parents here waiting to reunite with their kids. The kids are going to now all be brought here from what we are hearing from Metro Police safety team. So that's something to keep in mind here as we continue to monitor this very active scene and ongoing situation. For now, Lauren, Marius, I'll send things back to you.
Hey, Steve, I have a quick question for you. What's the process of when that bus pulls up, and how quickly are parents being reunited once that bus stops?
The reuniting process, Marius, can take minutes. I've seen some will take 30 to 45 minutes. Some parents have been waiting here for hours, some familiar faces that we've seen on this hill. The process is they take one student down off the bus and they match them with their parent. They get them signed out. So it is a little bit of a lengthy process, but it's for the kids' safety to ensure that they're going to the right person in this situation. So obviously a lot of parents are very anxious to see their kids, understandably so, in this situation following this incident. But it is a little bit of a lengthy process. It's that new protocol that we had talked about earlier in our coverage that's a part of this whole situation. So a lot of patience is being exercised here as parents anxiously wait for their kids. It is a little bit lengthier, but they seem to have this kind of under control right now, guys.
All right, and all of this, we should point out once again, if you're just catching up with us, 3754 Murfreesboro Pike. This is at Ascension Medical Group. That's where the reunification center is. Of course, it's away from a hospital. It's away from the school because there are their own series of investigations happening inside the school. And so then the kids are being brought there.
And as you can see, there's buses all over the place. There's a lot of kids that still need to be reunited with their families. And as Steve said, this process could take minutes. It could take up to 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So it's slow going, but it's something that needs to happen.
I think also from one of the mothers we just heard from just a moment ago who was speaking with our Jordan James, I think it brings into focus something that if we've never been involved in a school shooting, we don't necessarily think of this. But in addition to your child experiencing this, in so many of these instances, we've heard a child calling the parent saying, what do I do? And so it's not the parents having this reality of, oh my goodness, my child is in the middle of this thing. It's also, in many of these situations, the parent is telling the child how to survive. And so there's a lot of trauma with something like this because it's full-on survival.
There's a lot of trauma, but a lot of questions right now from the parents who have been reunited with their children. A lot of the questions that we are hearing is, how did that person get the gun into school? How does something like this happen? Where were the metal detectors? Where was the detection system that's supposed to prevent something like this?
Yeah, and it does seem targeted, because when you realize that a person was able to get into a school with a gun undetected and be in a cafeteria where, I mean, look, there's 2,000 kids at this school. In some estimations, more than 2,000. And so if it's 9th through 12th, you've got about 500 or so kids in every single one of these grades. No matter what grade was in the cafeteria at the time, you've got about 500 kids inside the cafeteria. If this person, who is the shooter, wanted this to be an indiscriminate shooting, there could have been way more loss of life than just the person, the female who was shot and killed, and the shooter himself after he turned the gun on himself.
Now, we have a lot of questions, and a lot of questions will come up as this goes on. I was on the Everytown for Gun Safety website, and if this is in fact a targeted shooting, they quote, in all targeted school violence, 100% there were warning signs that caused others to be concerned. So as we move forward, I'm sure we will look for these warning signs to see if anything was out there that someone should have caught.
We've just gotten a news release from the Professional Educators of Tennessee. It's all about this shooting, and it's specifically coming from the executive director of the Professional Educators of Tennessee. This is another thing. I'm just seeing it. I'm going to read part of it to you. It'll be my first time as well. They're saying, quote, "We are heartbroken by the school shooting that occurred today at Antioch High School." And they're saying our prayers are with all of the people involved, with the students, educators, parents, as well as Metro Nashville Public Schools, with the staff as well. And then they go on to say, this issue of school shootings is complex and influenced by various factors, including access to firearms, mental health challenges, societal pressure, and a significant lack of adequate support system. There's going to be no question that with this, once again, a deadly school shooting happening in our city, that all of these issues are going to be coming up to the forefront again. And Marius, I will point out, we are in the midst, at the very beginning of a legislative session.
Yes.
We were in the midst of a legislative session 2 years ago during the Covenant school shooting. What happens now?
And what has changed since the Covenant shooting?
If anything.
A lot of parents are asking that question right now. A lot of parents who don't have kids that go to the Covenant or Antioch High School, because the question of if and when is coming up to them as well.
We do know, if you are just joining our coverage, it'd be worth adding, we've heard from students who've spoken directly with our reporters on scene, who we've carried live here in our coverage, who have said to us they had substitute teachers that day, or today, I should say. They've had substitute teachers in their classroom, and when the code blue was called over the loudspeaker, the substitutes had no idea what to do.
Yeah, one of the students said that the door wasn't barricaded from their substitute teacher.
Or wasn't even locked in one situation too.
At all, wasn't barricaded. So one of the questions that will be asked, are substitute teachers, is the information about these processes being downloaded to the substitute teachers?
We've just gotten a correction that's come in. Producers back there, can you tell me who this is coming from? Okay, this is from Don Aaron with Metro Nashville Police. We are learning that the student who was grazed in the cafeteria was a male, not a female. So remember, the student who was the shooter is a 17-year-old male. The female who died, or the person who died, is a female. We had been told that 2 people were also injured, one of whom was a female, but we're being told now it's a male student who was grazed by a bullet. That person, we know, is in a stable condition at a hospital.
Now, for more clarification on everything that's been going on, we have a press conference happening at the bottom of the hour, about 2:30, where MNPS as well as the mayor will be speaking and sharing more information, the very latest information that has come forward after this shooting. You can see Mayor Freddie O'Connell as well as MNPD Chief Drake right there. They're about to have a press conference at the bottom of the hour.
Looks like they were walking up just to the top of the hill. Oftentimes what happens in these kinds of news conferences is we're given warnings. We're told, hey, coming up in a few minutes, we're going to begin. That 5-minute warning was already given, so we are going to stay on top of this shot for you. Not going to step away, because at any point they could step up to the mic. Chief Swan there as well, the Metro Fire Chief, and then
the District Attorney as well. We see him. It looks like they are preparing Don Aaron right now, talking to Chief Drake. as they are about to approach the mic and start this press conference. A lot of people are sitting on the edge of their seat waiting for the very latest information.
You know who I don't see is Dr. Adrienne Battle with MNPS. We'll see if she takes the mic at some point. Let's listen in here.
Ready to go? All right, this afternoon we have a briefing with several of our city's leaders. Chief John Drake will begin the briefing, followed by Mayor Freddie O'Connell. Mayor O'Connell will be followed by Metro Schools Director Dr. Adrienne Battle. Also here is District Attorney Glenn Funk and Nashville Fire Department OEM Director Chief William Swan. Chief John Drake.
Thank you, Don, and thank you all for being here during this unfortunate time. What we know thus far is that we had a male student that was 17 years old that rode the bus this morning to Antioch High School. During the course of the morning, this individual made his way to the cafeteria where he then confronted a 16-year-old, as we identified as a female Hispanic student, fired, striking her. She is deceased. There is another male, 17-year-old young man that was wounded with a graze wound, and he has been treated at Vanderbilt and released. The shooter was 17 years old. He entered into the cafeteria, firing multiple rounds in the cafeteria, striking her, and then before pulling the weapon on himself. From that point, at 11:11, we started receiving calls for service. Officers responded and found the male shooter deceased in the cafeteria. We've been working with our state and federal partners on the identification and notifications of all. From that point, our SWAT team began systematic searches throughout the entire school to make sure there weren't any more victims or shooters within the school. We did not find any more. Since that time, we have started a family assistance center where we've worked very closely with Metro Schools. The Family Safety Center is right behind us at the Ascension Medical Center. We are systematically releasing young students to that location to be connected back with their parents. We've done that systematically so we wouldn't overload the parents or the school system so that we could get everyone back connected. The investigation is still very much ongoing as to a motive. We're looking into that. There are some materials on the internet that we're looking at that's under the investigation on the initial stages, but we'll continue to follow up on that. We've had a great partnership with Metro Schools, great communication with the fire department, with TBI, FBI, and ATF. And we'll continue the investigation, which will go until the wee hours of the morning. Please look at our platforms for further information. At this time, I will turn this over to Mayor O'Connell.
Thank you, Chief Drake. As a city, as a community, it is impossibly difficult to be here once again dealing with the devastation of gun violence in one of our school communities. As a Metro Schools parent, I know how difficult it is to receive a notification of an emergency operation at a Metro school. I can't imagine how difficult it must be to receive the notification that there has been this level of violence in a school community. I want to say as much as I can about my gratitude to Chief Drake, to Dr. Battle, to Director Chief Swan, to our Department of Emergency Communications. The level of first response here once again highlights how important our community of collaboration is. The Family Service Center behind me has been focused on victims and their needs, and we will continue to be focused on that today and for the period to follow. There have been MNPD wellness team. There have been the family intervention program. Our Nashville Fire Department's EMS division has been deeply involved in this process, and we as a community will continue to rally to ensure that resources are available to those families who have been directly impacted by this incident, and certainly to the school community. I do want to invite Dr. Adrian Battle up to talk about the Metro Schools response. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon. As you all can imagine, this is a heartbreaking day for the entire Antioch High School community and all of us here in Nashville and in Nashville Public Schools. Today, we lost students in a tragic incident. One student took his own life and the life of a peer, forever changing the lives of their families and everyone who knew them. My heart goes out to these families as they face unimaginable loss. At this time, we are grateful that no additional lives were lost, though at least one student is being treated for injuries. I want to thank the school staff who quickly followed emergency protocols, potentially preventing others from being harmed. Their actions were heroic on a dark day for our school community. I also want to extend my gratitude to the Nashville Police Department and Nashville Fire Department for their swift and urgent response, securing the school and caring for those impacted. This tragedy is under active investigation by law enforcement and district leadership. While we are focused on addressing the immediate situation, we are committed to understanding how and why this happened and what more we can do to prevent such tragedies in the future. Over the years, we have implemented a range of safety measures, including partnership with the MNPD through our School Resource Officer Program, shatter-resistant film, security cameras with weapon detection software, and security vestibules. Unfortunately, these measures were not enough to stop this tragedy. I know there are questions about whether additional steps, such as stationary metal detectors, should be considered. While past research has shown they have had limitations and unintended consequences, we will continue to exploring emerging technologies and strategies to strengthen school safety. Building strong relationships between students, staff, and SRO teams remains the most effective way to foster these relationships. In the coming days, we will continue to partner with MNPD and our school team. We want to continue to foster an environment where students feel safe to speak up when they see something concerning. It's important to remember that our schools have historically been safe places for learning, friendships, and growth. We cannot allow this tragedy to overshadow the positive experiences of our 80,000 students. As a former principal of Antioch High School, I've walked the halls and I've witnessed the magic that happens in its classrooms. This loss is deeply personal for me, as it is for so many in and throughout our community. Now, to allow time for students and staff to grieve, Antioch High School will be closed for the rest of this week. We are arranging a location where students and staff can receive grief counseling and other supports. As a middle school student at J.T. Moore, I experienced the pain of losing a classmate to gun violence. I know how deeply this affects families, school communities, and parents everywhere who send their children to school each day. Nashville Public Schools are committed to supporting Antioch High School's students, staff, and families in the days and weeks ahead. I am grateful for the support of our Nashville community as we navigate this very difficult time together. I would like to introduce Chief Swan, who will approach the mic at this time.
So I know there's been a lot of information that's already been put out. From my standpoint and for the Nashville Fire Department and Office of Emergency Management, from the time that the call came in, we had 10 med units respond, along with 40 other apparatuses from the fire department, including our task force team that works so closely with the police department. We did do 4 transports, all of them going to Vanderbilt. Then other assessments were done, of course, with student and staff when it was needed. Then the Office of Emergency Management, they're here as well to also offer all resources that are needed. The important thing here is the collaboration of everyone that you see behind us to make this situation work as best as we can. But again, we're very appreciative of the team and all the hard work is done, but we know it's a very sad day. But that's the information I can give you from the Nashville Fire Department Office of Emergency Management. Thank you.
The fourth student who was transported to Vanderbilt suffered a facial injury from a fall. It was not gunshot related. He's a male student and fell. I think he wears eyeglasses and had a facial injury as a result of the fall, and that was the fourth individual who went to Vanderbilt. We will take a limited number of questions from you now.
So the investigation is very much ongoing. So we're unsure at this time if it was targeted or if it was intended for multiple people. As I said earlier, follow our platforms and we'll put that information out as we gain more information. Our homicide detectives are actively investigating this in conjunction with the FBI, ATF, and TBI. So we've had several things in place. We have Dr. Battle's done a lot. We've done active shooter training. They put protective film, security access into the building. This individual arrived at school on a bus and was actively a student in the school, went into the restroom, I guess, to retrieve his weapon, and then went into the cafeteria. I would say if there's anything as we progress, to always, if you see something, say something. We believe there's some materials out there, and if maybe they were seen, maybe and said something, maybe more could have been done.
Chief Drake, do we know if the shooter had a criminal history or if he has a history of bringing guns to school?
That's very much under investigation. I think there was one prior incident, but I'm unsure as to the details, but we will put that out later today.
The material that was found online, has it been vetted? Has it been confirmed that that is part of the shooter's manifesto?
We're very much looking into it, and we'll let everyone know once we get there.
The victim herself was Hispanic. What services are going to be offered for this diverse community? We know that a lot of the students here are Latino families, and we're getting a lot of calls. They're obviously very distraught and kind of really don't understand what happened.
Yeah, it's the same as we do with all other students, and we have our family intervention program. We have counselors that are available. We have members of our department that are from the Hispanic community. We'll do everything we can to make sure all notifications are made, all outreach is taken care of, and any information we'll give to them. If they need to reach out, contact the police department, and we'll help, or the Metro schools, and we'll help them with any information that they need.
Chief, have you been in contact with the shooter's parents or guardians, and have they been cooperating with the investigation?
Initially, we have made contact with a parent, and that's very much it's very much ongoing. So.
Is there any information on where the student got the gun?
That is an active investigation as well. We work closely with our federal partners, and they're doing a trace on the weapon as we speak.
In terms of the reunification that we saw here today, can anybody speak about how that went, if everything kind of went smoothly, and if this site was already predetermined to be that
So it was not predetermined to my knowledge. We determined to be a great site to have everyone meet a little bit away from the school. To my understanding, it's gone as well as can be expected at this point. As I said earlier, we've done it systematically. We didn't want to overload the school, the Ascension Center, or the parents. And so systematically, we've released a limited number of kids and got them connected back with their families. And that'll keep going until every kid is back safely with their parent. So.
Do you know how many bullet shots
So there was multiple rounds that were fired inside the school. Investigation would tell if there was other magazines, other ammunition, and all that. As it unfolds, this will go into the wee hours of the morning, and we'll have more information later.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
We just saw
next of kin notifications
conference
are just being made to the shooter's family and to the 16-year-old female. Those names will be released to you on our platforms probably within the next 30 minutes.
All right, so that's an interesting update too. So we've just heard all sorts of information just in the last few minutes from Metro Police, we've heard from the fire chief, we've also heard from Dr. Adrian Battle, and then, goodness gracious,
Freddie O'Connell
Mayor
as
Freddie
well.
O'Connell, who, interesting enough, one of the things we heard from Mayor O'Connell was these two words that I wrote down. He calls this an impossibly difficult situation. And in each of these cases, they've all thanked the emergency responders, they thanked the parents, they thanked the school as well for the response. But again, it is a difficult situation, and it's something that we still don't know why, right? After one of these shootings, the question that we all ask is the motive behind it, and that's what will remain tonight.
And the mayor said that the focus right now, as we move forward from today, tomorrow, the focus should be on the victims in this situation. We want to get to our Steve Mailing. Steve Mailing, you've been standing by and talking to parents as well as talking to these students at the reunification site. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, Marius, Lauren, a new change has just happened in the last couple minutes during that press conference. Parents were just announced to go over and form this large line. So what's now going to happen is they're going to tell officials at the table their kid's name, and then they're going to have that kid put on the bus to be brought here. So this could cause that reunification process to take a little bit longer now, because they're going to have to go through this entire line, which is now wrapped around the entrance here of Ascension Medical here of Murfreesboro, going all the way up the sidewalk there. So it's definitely interesting to see what's going on, because a lot of parents are already anxious, frustrated that their kid hasn't been brought here yet. Now they're going to have to wait a little bit even longer as they continue to make announcements, change the way that they're going to reunify the kids. As I was overhearing about 10 minutes ago from a Metro police officer talking to one of the parents here, was that if the parents aren't here at the reunification site, the kid is supposed to be put back on their regular bus route. But unconfirmed information for sure right now. We're just confirming the fact that parents now have to tell their kid's name at this table. They're going to put the kid on the bus at the high school, bring the bus here to the reunification center. So things could take a little bit longer here, guys.
Yeah, Steve, I mean, and you bring up, there are 2,000 kids there, and all of the teachers and all of the staff and administrators. There's a lot of people to account for. Steve, by all means, keep your information gathering. Go do what you need to do. We'll continue watching live pictures here and bringing you more information.
Yeah, we want to get you back out to our Jordan James, who's standing by with parents. And Jordan, I'm sure the parents some are relieved, some are still concerned about what the future holds for their Antioch High School.
Yeah, Marius, that is absolutely right. We certainly are feeling all of those emotions as we stand out here outside of the reunification center right now. I'm actually joined with a parent who's been out here since 12 o'clock waiting to reunite with her child. What has this been like for you?
It's not really a surprise, honestly, because school shootings are a big problem in America right now. And it's like you see so many of them when you're actually in the situation. It's kind of like a numb feeling, because it's like there's nothing you can do, and you just see the aftermath of it. And honestly, I feel like we could do better as parents, as a society, to make sure that this doesn't happen again, but no one's actually taking any type of initiative to do anything about it.
And you were telling me off camera that you have spoken with your child by phone. What has those conversations been like, and how are they faring in light of what has transpired?
Honestly, it seems like she's taking it well. She just was scared a little bit, I'm assuming, but honestly, it's just, it's just crazy to think about that it happened so close to home. We literally live like a half a mile away from the school, so.
And some of the conversations we're hearing out here are Antioch needs to do more in terms of the security measures in place. We've learned they had at least 2 SROs there. Some people are saying the metal detectors were not in place. What's your position on this subject?
Instead of them trying to take away their phones are not shooting schools up. They need to take away guns and put metal detectors in schools and do more to protect the children. Like, if we're not going to protect ourselves, or at least we should protect our children from school shootings and gun violence.
And I mean, are you going to be a little bit apprehensive to send your child back to school?
Of course, yes. No, I mean, I would rather her be homeschooled. I know that at least she's safe there. Like, you should be sending your kids to school so they can get an education and not have to worry if they're going to get a bullet in them. Like, that's not something we should be worrying about right now.
And, you know, police just gave an update. We know at least 2 people have died, 2 other people injured. And as I say those statistics out loud, what goes through your mind?
It's just sad. Like, you don't expect to send your child to school and them not come home. And I know that there's a parent right now that's mourning the loss of their child, and it's very sad. But again, we're not doing anything about it. We're just letting it happen again and again and again.
Well, Lauren, Marius, as you can see, a lot of parents are out here pushing for change as they continue to wait to try and reunite with their children. I'll send it back to you in studio.
Yeah, Jordan, I've got a question for you. We all know, since we've covered stories like this out in the field, as you're doing for us right now, when you're able to speak with people directly, face to face, there is a different emotional component than what we can feel just through the screen. I know people have shown you at least pictures or videos of what happened in the school today. What has been your reaction as you witnessed that from them?
I can tell you that a lot of emotions are on display out here. A lot of parents tell me they're too emotional to talk about the situation at hand. Many are relieved to be able to go home with their children, but the reality is that's not the case for everyone. So a lot of emotions out here, for certainly.
Jordan James reporting live for us right now. Thank you.
Yeah, we also want to remind people the reunification process is taking longer than expected. They have changed how they're doing things. Now they want the kids or the parents to come up, tell them the name of their kids, then they will get the kids and bring them to the reunification center.
There's a long line for that, too.
Yes.
I mean, and the phrase wrapped around the building, it would kind of be appropriate here because it's literally wrapped around the parking lot and out into what looks like the street at this point. So it is a one-by-one situation.
And it seems like the process is changing as we continue to go further. I'm sure they're doing everything they can to speed up the process to get these families reunited.
Yeah. So, okay, let's reset for you the things that we just learned about 20 minutes ago. We heard the very beginning of the latest news conference. It was with Metro Nashville Police, Metro Nashville Public Schools, as well as fire, and then the mayor, Freddie O'Connell. We learned a few things. Here's what we know, okay? Number one, the shooter, the 17-year-old male who brought a pistol to school, he rode the bus to Antioch High School this morning and made it to the cafeteria. We did hear Chief John Drake say at one point later in that news conference that it seems like the shooter stashed the gun in a restroom, and then at some point went back to the restroom, grabbed the gun, and went to the cafeteria where he fired multiple rounds into a 16-year-old female victim.
Yeah, we know at 11:11 they got the call for service, and that's when they got to Antioch High School. We know a SWAT team was called. You know, right after they got there, they found that one person that was shot dead on the scene. SWAT team was called in to secure the school. This is once again an ongoing investigation. There's a lot of questions that are left unanswered out there, as Chief Drake told us.
Yeah, 2 people injured in this. It's worth noting both are male, we've now learned. The 2 injured, not the 2 who were killed. The 2 who were injured, one is a 17-year-old male. He had a graze wound to the arm. He's already been treated and released at Vanderbilt University Hospital. There's also a 4th student who was injured, and we heard from Don Aaron with Metro Police that it was a facial injury because the student wears glasses and fell, and that was the 4th injury.
And we know that the female that was shot and killed is of a 16-year-old of Hispanic descent. We know that Metro Police right now are trying to identify families or talk to families to let them know what's going on as well.
One of the big conversations we've been having and hearing from parents and students these last several hours in our live breaking news wall-to-wall coverage for you is this element of security.
Yeah.
Why, so many parents have said, why how can a student make it into a school with a gun? No, there are not metal detectors, but there are weapon detection systems. And we heard Dr. Adrienne Battle speaking specifically about that. And I wrote this down as a quote. She said, "We will continue to explore the possibility of bringing in other things that could detect weapons." There is a weapon detection system there. In this situation, it did not help, clearly, and it would not have helped because the weapon wasn't brandished, if you will. It wasn't brought out and even seen to the capability of a detection system even noting that it was there until the moment at what we know is 11:09 inside that cafeteria where the 16-year-old student was shot.
And we also know, as per policy, 2 SROs, student resource officers, were in the school at the time of this shooting, but by the time they made it to the incident, it was already over.
Right. So we know that there is an interview happening right now with one of our reporters. Let's listen in.
I'm like, okay, well, I guess he's okay for now. And then I hear that, then finally, 45 minutes later, they send the phone calls out.
And about what time was all of this happening?
I talked to my son at 11 o'clock. The phone call did not go out until 11:45. So for 45 minutes, I'm trying to figure out what's happening on my own. And I'm not on social media anymore, so I had to depend on my friends and coworkers to kind of tell me what's being said. So that's how I was getting my news, was from Facebook. The Hip Antioch group. I mean, everybody posting there. So I was like, okay, I'm coming to get him. So I've been down here, parked down there, walked all the way up here, sat around. They brought like 2 rounds of buses. It's like, okay, are you on the bus yet? I'm texting him continuously. Are you on the bus? Are you on the bus? He's like, no, I'm still sitting in the gym. I was like, okay. So here it is now, 3 o'clock. They're putting him on the bus to go home. I've been standing out here for 2 hours waiting for my son, and now he's going home. I said, get off the bus and come walk down here. It's like, I'm not walking down there. It's like, I'm here waiting for you. So now, he's going home. But I'm just like, this is the most disorganized nonsense ever. And they keep talking about they're doing all this emergency prep for instances just like this, and they dropped the ball on this. It was terrible.
And walk us through the range of emotions from 11 o'clock when you first got that call from your son to now still waiting to see him.
Confusion. I was never afraid because I knew pretty quickly on my own that the kid was gone, and that there were other people injured. So I wasn't concerned with him. It was just, okay, are they going to send you home? So once they started the calls, I was like, okay, that's a little bit, at least they give us a little bit of information. And, getting out here, I've been fine. I was just kind of, okay, well, I guess he'll be here eventually. Now I'm pissed. I mean, I'm freezing, right? It's not a warm day. I've been sitting out here getting just, I should be at work, but here I am, and now they're just sending him home. So I'm frustrated, very, very frustrated.
And so what do you plan to do now? Do you plan to stay up here and wait for him, or?
No. I told him, just go get on the bus. I'm going home, but now I have to deal with traffic. So I'm going out that way and just go the long way around because I live like right over there, but.
And then a question we've been talking to a lot of parents about is security and safety measures inside the school. Is that anything that you are aware of?
Every time I've been to the school, there are at least 2 to 3 police officers just standing around. So I'm not even sure how this happened, if they were already present. I don't know. And I mean, it was also 11 o'clock. Why were the kids in the lunchroom? I asked my son, I said, I thought your lunch wasn't until noon. He said, oh, well, they keep switching our lunch times around. I was like, well, that's weird. But I don't know. I'm ready to pull them out. Yeah. I don't.
And what options are you looking at after this?
Homeschool. I've got too many kids to do private, so homeschool. That's it.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We really appreciate it. Now, a lot of parents just a bit confused about what's happening here as far as the reunification process. They've told us some kids were put on buses and then taken off of buses and things like that. So we're still working to figure out what exactly is the reunification process at this point. And we'll bring that to you as soon as we learn it.
Okay, Danielle Ledbetter reporting live for us right now and has been live for several hours. We do know 3754 Murfreesboro Pike, that's the location where she is right now. That is the reunification center. There has been so much information changing back and forth between whether parents need to go to the reunification center or whether they need to wait for their kids at home. Our Jordan James continues to speak with people right there at the center. Jordan, what are you learning?
Well, Lauren, I can't tell you, several students are now making their way out of the building and reuniting with their parents. I'm actually joined with one of those students who tells me that the alleged shooter was in her classroom before everything transpired. Kind of talk to us about that.
A lot of thoughts of just what if, like, what if he didn't wait till lunch? What if he did what he did in the classroom? What if he did what he did to other people? I'm just thankful it wasn't a mass shooting, like he was just going out for everybody. He did post stuff about, like, when he was going to do stuff, but it wasn't, like, said until after the fact that everything happened. My whole thing was just finding my peoples, making sure everybody was okay. Everybody just got separated. A lot of students were outside, inside. He was not a